Hello, hello, upper one students. Let's see the grammar part for unit 1A. It is, there is nothing new, but it's important that we revise it, right? In unit 1A, we talk about question formation, which is really, really easy. Let me give some details here for you. Well, generally speaking, you use auxiliaries to make questions, right? Like, do you like, okay, does she want to, or did he go? So we use do, does, did, right? Before the subject to make a question. Has she ever been to Okinawa, right? So you have this way, but you also have those questions which start by a question word, like how long have you been waiting? Where does he live? Um, who did you go to the party with? And etc. Right? So this is how you make questions. So let's read this here, right? There are, let me make this clearer, right? There are other verbs which make questions in a different way, like the verb can, the verb should, the verb must, the verb be, right? They are independent verbs, so you just place them before the subject, okay? Are you okay? Is your sister doing something important? Should we go together? Can he play the guitar? So these are anomalous verbs or modal verbs which don't need an auxiliary. Okay, apart from this, you must use an auxiliary to make a question. You like pizza? Okay, although everybody will be able to understand this, they will also see that your English is very poor. Okay, so don't do it. Don't do it. Sometimes we see it in songs or maybe in TV shows or films, but this is not current. This is not the way people actually speak. All right. So we have here, how long have you been waiting? Okay, so have you, all right. How many children does your sister have? So you have does. Okay, should we buy her a present? Sometimes we want to confirm something, so we do negative questions. Okay, why didn't you like the film? I mean, the film was good, so why didn't you like it? Okay, isn't this a beautiful place? It's like a confirmation or just more like an observation. The person doesn't really need to answer, right? Don't you have to be, don't you have to be at school today, right? So it's more like a rhetorical question, right? You are sort of confirming, or you know the answer. You know what the answer is. I mean, you have your opinion about it already, right? So that's when you make negative questions. There is something special in English, right? When you have a question word and there is a preposition, this preposition is often at the end of the question, okay? Where are you from? What are they talking about? Who does this bag belong to? And so on, okay? What do you believe in, right? So when you have a question word, WH word, and a preposition in the same sentence, so you do it that way, right? And there are these other questions which do not require a auxiliary. Why doesn't it require an auxiliary? These questions, the question word is the subject. Okay, so you are looking for the subject. If you are looking for the subject, okay, because the auxiliaries, they are placed before the subject, but now you don't have, okay, there is no subject, so you don't need an auxiliary. Okay, so who lives in that house, right? Who lives in that house? Who wrote Hamlet? What happened yesterday? So you can't say what did happen. Did must be before a subject, but there's no subject. Okay, so the what, the who, the other words, they are the subject. So you can't have an auxiliary there, right? how many people follow you on Twitter? Okay, how many people follow? So you don't say how many did, do, does. No, of course not, because the how many people, this is a subject. You don't need an auxiliary to make the question, all right? Who has come with you? Okay, who has come with you? So I want to know the subject. I don't need auxiliary in this case. Okay, who will go? Right, it happens a lot with who. Okay, so this is how you make questions. Let me clear this. And in this part, we also have indirect questions. Indirect questions are you have this piece of question at the beginning, and then you make the actual question a positive statement. Okay, so the question here is, what time does the shop next door open? What time does the shop open, right? But then you want to make it more polite, okay, more sophisticated. So you say, could you tell me what time the shop next door opens, right? Do you mind telling me where she went yesterday? Okay, do you mind telling me? Do you know if Mark's coming to the meeting? Okay, and there are many others. Okay, do you have any idea? Can you tell me these things? But not only questions themselves, but also there are other statements which can also be used in this case. Okay, like I can't remember if she came to the meeting. Okay, the question is did she come to the meeting? This is the direct question. I can't remember if she came to the meeting. So that's the indirect question, right? I mean, sometimes it's not a question. So you have here, I wonder, I'm not sure, I can't remember. I'd like to know. I'd like to know what time you're coming home. So what's the actual question? What time are you coming home? But you can see now it's not a question anymore when you have this piece of indirect question element. So I'd like to know what time you are coming home, not are you anymore, okay? So this is how indirect questions work. And here you had this homework, right, that you did at home, of course, not homework. Okay, so here you are, all the answers. I don't like this kind of questions a lot because they are quite confusing and it's so unreal. Right here. Okay. And then you have this other one, this other piece here, letter B, right? It's quite easy to make, okay? You usually do, so it is present simple. How often do you usually do exercise? Who, Oliver Twist, there is no subject, so you can't use do or does or did. So who wrote Oliver Twist? Could you tell me, you see, indirect question, okay? Could you tell me this book cost? Could you tell me how much this book costs, right? So it's very direct. I can't remember, or indirect question again. I can't remember where I parked my car. Oh, my car this morning, right? Your trip to Paris last weekend, okay, did you enjoy, right? So it goes on, right? Please check the answers. You make questions in this way. And this is the part of grammar for Unit 1A. Thank you very much. See you in the next lesson. Bye-bye.